everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today, you can see by the title, I'm going to be recreating one of Mitchell's look. He is on Instagram. I don't think he's the YouTube channel, and if he doesn't, then he really needs to get one. This is Mitchell's page here. He does very kind of bold, creative, colourful, full-on makeup looks. Like, you're not going to go to Mitchell's page and look for a natural kind of look. He does lots of spotlight eyes, cut creases, and like I said, super bold colours. I've also tried to recreate the kind of skin he does, which is super glowy with lots of highlight, lots of bronzer, and then quite a bold kind of 90s throwback lip with a darker lip liner and then a lighter gloss. This here is the picture that I used for reference. I put up a poll on my Instagram of two different ones, and this is the one that got the most votes for me to try and recreate today. So this is the one that I'm doing, and it's somewhat similar. His is obviously vastly superior. So if you want to see how I got this look step by step on a kind of spotlight eye, then please do just keep on watching. I didn't do the skin in the video because I was filming for about an hour just doing the eye, and I thought that it would just be too long and too boring if I included it all. So we're just doing the eye in this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and let's just jump into the tutorial. So I've already primed my eyelid, and I used this Barry M All Night Long Full Coverage Concealer. This is one that I see Mitchell like post about on his Instagram, so I had to buy it as soon as I found it, and this is full coverage. It's really good, really recommend. And I have not set it in place with any powder, so I'm just kind of gonna smooth out my creases that I've got. Really? Can you hear my husband blowing his nose in the background? The glamour. So the first shade that I've used is from my Juvia's Place Mini Masquerade palette. So this palette here, this is the mini version. You also get a bigger version just with bigger pans for more expensive. I'm taking this bright pink shade here. It's actually got micro sparkle in it, and this is the shade Bori, B-O-R-I. And I'm taking this medium size kind of fluffy brush. I got this on Amazon or eBay, I don't know. It's MSQ. It's a really good brush though, and I'm going to dip into that shade and start popping it in my crease. And I'm going to kind of do circular motions. I do feel like it's more pigmented because I haven't set my base. It's ever so slightly harder to blend though, I would say. And this is my first time doing it, so I'm not an expert at non-setted bases, but here we go, we're just trying it. And I'm doing inner corner to outer corner, although I'm going to kind of bring that out a little bit at the outer corner. And I'm not worried about blending or how neat it is. This is just really packing on that colour. So we've got something that looks so great. Now I'm going to dip into my Coloured Rain palette. This is my Queen of Hearts palette, which is a bit mucky on the outside, but the colours are gorgeous. Highly recommend this palette a lot. I'm going to use this shade here, which is like, it looks like Bon Fresco from the Modern Renaissance palette, and this is the shade Princess. And I'm using a slightly smaller fluffy brush. This is the ABH A25, and I really like this one. And now what I'm going to do is just go around the edge of that pink and start to blend it into my concealer. I'm really kind of barely touching my skin as well. I'm being very gentle and not putting a lot of pressure on the brush. Hopefully you can see that's starting to make more of a blended edge. And the closer you get to the outside of your blend, just use even lighter pressure, and it's just gonna really help diffuse things. Now I'm just going to go back in with that first brush and a bit more of that pink shade from the Juvia's Place, and just make sure it's really pigmented in my crease. because I'm going to go in with black in a second, but I really want this pink to show through underneath. And then I'll go back in with Princess from the Colored Rain palette, and I'll just make sure it's still blended. So that is our initial transition. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to go in with a really small brush. What brush did I use? So now I'm going in with this brush here. It's a little tapered brush. It's really quite little. This is, again, an unbranded brush. This must be from the same eBay set. And I'm going to dip into a black eyeshadow. Any black that you have will do. This is just the black from the ABH Soft Glam palette, just because it's the one that I had closest to hand. So I'm just going to use the very tip of the brush and dip into the black. And this is where it starts to get a bit scary because we're putting just a jet black on. And I'm gonna touch it to my outer corner just to kind of get my where I want to start taking it from, and I'm going to take it up through my crease. It's above my crease though, because I want to be able to see it when my eyes are open. You can see even there, you can hardly see it, but you can a little bit, so I'm just going to take it a little bit higher. Like that. And a little bit kind of taken out on this outer corner, just so it's not completely rounded. So it looks like that, which obviously doesn't look great right now. So now for my mini masquerade, I'm dipping into this kind of burgundy aubergine purple. It's called Zobo. But I'm also taking my Colored Rain and dipping into Ladyship, which is more of a kind of true purple, if I can show you. And I'm just using my original pink packing brush to dip into both of those shades, and we're going to start to blend out the black. This took me the most time on my other eye, so just spend a bit of time doing it. And I'm just kind of focusing it on that top edge of the black. And I know it still looks crazy, but really it's just, if you spend a bit of time on it, it will start to look really good. It can be a bit scary blending black. So we now have something looking like this. Now I think it's a bit too deep and purple now, so I'm going to go back in with that original pink shade. Just on that same brush again. I find I don't actually use a whole heap of brushes in one look, and I'm just going to go around the edges and just make really light kind of sweeping motions and just bring a bit more of that vibrant pink back in. Using the same black, I'm just going to fill in my outer corner and inner corner. So I'm just going to tap it on. This is the shade Noir, by the way, and it's the best black that I've ever used. It's so dark. And it's from the ABH Soft Glam, but they also do it in a single. I'm just packing that inner corner and outer corner. Like that. And then a bit more of that Ladyship shade from the Colored Rain palette, just to kind of soften the edge, even though I'll probably cover it up with concealer, but right now it makes me a bit happier. And then that is the kind of start of our spotlight eye. I need to try and get rid of this little bit of glitter that won't move. 2 seconds. So now I'm gonna cut, I cannot get rid of that little bit of glitter. We're just gonna have to live with it and pretend it's not there. I'm gonna cut my crease now. I'm gonna use my Makeup Forever concealer palette, which I need to get a repurchase of this. And I'm just gonna use a little tiny brush. I'll show you which one. This is the brush I'm gonna use. This is actually a nail art brush. I get packs of these for like £1 on eBay, and they're so tiny that they're great for doing this kind of thing. I'm going to kind of hit the middle of my eye, and that's where I kind of want my center point to be, and then I'm going to start taking it down on this side and down on this side, and that's a kind of rough shape. However, I can see that when I open my eye, that's just disappeared, so I need to take that much higher, because the point is to be able to see it when your eye is open. If you have hooded eyes or small eyes, then you need to take it higher so you can actually see it. So I'm just going to take it even higher. And I'm not being too neat at this point, I'm just trying to get my rough shape. And I'm also constantly looking at my other eye just to make sure that they're the same level. And now when I open my eye, you can actually see the top of it. So now I'm just going to make sure it's neat. And this is where you just need to take your time. If you hadn't guessed already, this is the kind of look that's going to take time. And then I just start to fill in the inside. I'm just going to go in with this flat brush here. This is the ABH A2 brush, and I'm just going to smooth out all the concealer that we've put on and blend the edges just a little bit. And it's just going to make it much easier to blend shadows on top. But also you don't want your concealer to be too thick, or it can be a little bit hard to work with. And it doesn't matter that it's getting a little bit discolored because we're going to cover over it anyway. And looking at Mitchell's look, he has a much darker line of black above this, so I'm dipping into black, the same shade that we used before, on another pencil brush, and I'm going to go round the top of my cut crease or my spotlight with this black. And just make sure that's still nice and blended. Then on my ABH A2 again, I've just wiped it off with my towel. I'm going to dip into the shade Air from the Coloured Rain palette, which is just like an almost skin colour shade. And I'm just going to set all of the area that I've concealed. Now I'm taking one of my very favourite brushes. This is the Nemo brush, and it's the style IFA. I think that's how you pronounce it, and it's this quite small blending brush, and I'm dipping back into that bright pink, and I'm going to start blending the edges. So I'm just going to tap this on where the pink where the cream meets the black, like that, outer and inner corners. Kind of blend it a little bit at the same time as kind of patting it on. And I'm not worried about covering up too much of the center cream shade, so we can just go back in and deepen that up, or kind of reapply it anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. Same brush, I'm going to dip into that Ladyship shade from the Coloured Rain palette and pop that nearer to where the black is. Not quite as far in as the pink. And I kind of tap and then blend And then I'm just going to use this brush again and dip into the black and use that to deepen that inner corner and the outer corner. You need to be a bit more careful with the black. You don't want to take it too far in. It's a bit harder to kind of take down black. And now I'm dipped back into that very light shade, and I'm just going to make sure the center of my eye is the very lightest part. And just tap it on. And yeah, it's just a case of going back and forth with different shades that you've used in your crease and just adding them lightly to just make sure you've got that kind of perfect blend, or as blended as you want it to be. This is just a bit more of the pink because I feel like I lost it a little bit. Back in with my Queen of Hearts palette, and I'm going to use the shade Crown. This is my favourite shade in the whole palette. It's just this bright, like opal white. It's gorgeous. And I'm going to use that to brighten the center of my eye even more. And I'm using the ABH number 3 brush, which is kind of like a, I don't know if you can see, it's like a triangle. It's great. And I'm going to just go down the very center, very lightly, with that Crown shade, and then at the very top just patting again, patting in little swiping motions to blend. And then, just because it isn't me if I don't add a little bit of sparkle, I'm going to go in with my Urban Decay Heavy Metal Liner in Grind, and I'm going to use it very lightly and just go a little bit because I have to. And I'm just going to put it at the top. And then take it down a little bit through the center, but I'm really not adding a lot of product. I just want kind of a hint of sparkle. So just a little bit. Just like that. Back in with my ABH A3 brush, and I'm dipping into that shade Crown, which I used in the very center, and I'm going to pop that under my brow as my brow bone highlight. So I'm now just going to go through on the rest of my face, and then we'll come back and do lashes and lower lash line. I think if I include my face in this video, we'll be here for about 2 hours. So I'll go do that quickly, and then we will throw on lashes, lash line, and then that'll be us. Oh, here's how both of my eyes look at the moment. Fairly similar-ish. Anyway, I'll be back in a second. So moving on to the lower lash line, first of all, I'm going to put black eyeliner in my waterline and my tight line, because the lower lash line in the reference photo, which I'll put here again just for reference, is really dark and smoky, like pretty much just a black lower lash line. So I'm just going to pop this in, which looks so gross on camera. And I'm also taking it onto the actual skin below my waterline and tight lining, which is definitely easier with your eyes closed. Then I'm just dipping into our first pink shade on a fluffy brush. I'm just going to run that along because I want it to be pretty smoked out. Just connecting it with the top. And then on my Makeup Geek pencil brush, I'm dipping into that black shade that we use, Noir, and I'm going to run that along really close to my eyelashes. I'm just using you as a mirror at the moment. Then just on that same brush, I'm going to use the purple, the shade Ladyship from the Colour Drain palette, and just go along the edge, just to help blend that black into the purple. like that. So now all we need to do is move on to lashes and then we're done. The lashes that I'm going to use are these tatty lashes, and these are styled TL38. Not very long, not very dramatic, but I think they'll be fine for this look. I'm also just going to use the glue that comes with them because I'm intrigued to see how good it is. So I'm just going to pop that on. It comes in one of these like little cheap tubes, and I'm just going to paint it on the back of the lash band. Not too much. This is hard. I'm doing it backwards. I don't know why. We all know how to do this. Ooh. So the glue's been drying for about a minute, so I'm just gonna pop this lash on. Usually I leave 2 minutes, but that's for dual glue, and I've not tried this before, so it seems pretty sticky. That's it, pretty much stuck down already. That was quite easy. Finesse it a bit. That's quite a nice lash because it's not hiding what's behind it really. Like you can still see, you know, you can still see the spotlight. So I quite like that. Yeah, I think we're pretty much done now. So I will zoom out and then we can see the overall look. There we go. So I've done pretty kind of Mitchell lips. He always does like a nude lip gloss with a darker liner, kind of throwback to the 90s. A lot of bronzer, a lot of highlighter, and of course our spotlight eye. This was really fun to do. It's definitely kind of my style of makeup, it being a little bit dramatic and not for kind of your weekly shop in Asda, which is actually, funnily enough, what me and Hamish are off to do now that I look like this. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful in any way. I hope I kind of was clear in the steps that I was doing. I'm not very good at like teaching a look, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it anyway. If you're wondering what's on my, like the rest of my face, I'll link it all in the description box down below. But in terms of the eyes, I cannot recommend the Colour Drain palette enough. In terms of the Juvia's Place Mini Masquerade palette, to be honest, pretty much the only shade I used in here was that pink and that purple a little bit. This isn't my favourite palette of all time. I don't think it's even as good as the Morphe 35B. So if you're wanting a super colourful palette, that's the one that I would recommend. But certainly, I love the Colour Drain palette, and I love tatty lashes as well. This lash glue seems pretty good, like for a free glue. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. When I hit 5,000 subscribers, I am doing a 5k giveaway. I've got a big pile of makeup just waiting. Come and follow my Instagram, it's Makemeupmissa. It will be linked down below as well. That's where I'll announce the giveaway and also show everything that's going to be in it. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!